Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Country. Today we're doing 3 fall Dollar Tree Farmhouse wall decor DIYs. Guys, these are so simple. Definitely stick around to see how we put these together so you can make some for your home too. So today we have 3 fall Dollar Tree Farmhouse wall decor DIYs. The first one comes in at around $2. This one came in at around $3, and the final one came in at around $5. Super affordable, guys. Okay, so for the first DIY, you're gonna wanna pick up one of these 12 by 12 frames from the Dollar Tree. We're gonna take everything out of it. There's some paper in there and things of that nature. Take it all out. We're gonna keep the back for sure, and I'm going to bring in some of this burlap that I have left over, so it's not part of the total of this DIY. Now, as I said, take everything out of it and keep this backing. We're going to use the backing and we're going to actually cover it with some of this burlap. So this first DIY definitely leans more towards country farmhouse, but if that's not your thing, stay tuned because I have some modern farmhouse coming up. How I'm going to apply it is just take some of my hot glue around the edges. Now, I'm not going to go all the way around at first. I'm just going to do, you know, the one side and part of the top, and then I'm going to work my way around so that I get a more fixed or straight piece. You're going to want to trim everything around the backing. Now, when I say a fixed piece, what I mean is trying to get rid of a lot of the bumps that happens whenever you put some fabric onto like a piece of cardboard. So I just took my time with that hot glue and went around the edges, and this is what I got. Now, I love this from the Dollar Tree. I use this to clean all of my windows, and I definitely recommend cleaning the glass on these frames before you put everything back together. It just makes it really nice, and when the completed project is done, you're not wondering, you know, what those smudges are and are they on the inside. So definitely take your time to do that. Now, I recommend putting some hot glue in the very corners of these frames. And that's really just given the nature of this $1 frame from the Dollar Tree. Like I said, it's not wood, it's more of a, I don't know, like a pressed foam of some sort. They're really not, you know, a wooden piece. So putting the hot glue in the corners helps to keep everything nice and stable. Now, guys, this, like I said, is the easiest DIY ever, and it is the first one we're doing. And I just bought one of these window clings from Dollar Tree. I love the glittery part of this, and that glitter stays. It does not come off on your fingers. My ring light really helped me to figure out sort of the center of this and where I would lay that down. And I'm just using the wreath part of this window cling and the wording that says Fall Sweet Fall. And guys, I mean, we're talking $2 here to easily add fall decor, you know, to your home. And it really doesn't look like it came from the Dollar Tree. I absolutely love how this one turned out. Okay, and for the next Dollar Tree fall DIY farmhouse wall decor, we're going to use one of those frames and one of these self-adhesive wall tiles. I really like this particular pattern of the subway tile. What I'm not a huge fan of is the fact that it is very thin and the grouting lines are in a light gray. For this DIY, I'm going more modern farmhouse. So I'm going to pull in a Sharpie. That's right, guys, I'm using a Sharpie, and we're going to fill in these grout lines. The sticker from the Dollar Tree takes a Sharpie very well. It is one of those things where you sort of turn on one of your favorite YouTubers, you sit in front of the TV, and you sort of just follow the lines and do a little bit of coloring. I have to be honest, it was very relaxing to do this part of the prep work for this DIY. So grab a Sharpie, and I'm thinking, you know, boundless here. You could go any color grout that you want on these to do any sort of fun DIY decor with these. I absolutely love them. And I also love that they're just about the perfect size to put inside of the frame. And how I did that was I used the glass from inside the frame as the template, and I turn over the sticker and I peel it back, but not completely. This entire piece does have sticky on the back. So I left just a teeny tiny bit of the covering on it, and I'm going to take the corner and I'm going to line it up with the glass piece from the frame. And then I'm going to turn it over and sort of push the glass or press the glass into the backing and finish pulling it away. That's really the best way that I found to put these on without wrinkling them. And it really does literally leave a very tiny bit of that sticker hanging over the edge of the glass. I want everything to fit perfectly, so I'm going to just use my scissors and very carefully trim off this tiny little bit that's left. You could use a straight edge to do this if you wanted to. I just grabbed my scissors and did that, and that's how that turned out. And again, we're just going to pop it inside of the frame so that we can have a look at how that looks. Now, I love these frames, honestly, because of the matte black finish on them. It really does lean towards a modern farmhouse. I really like it. Now, you could, if you wanted to, take those wall clings again and just use the middle part of that Fall Sweet Fall, and you get sort of a modern twist on that. But I'm going to use something else instead. I picked up these at the Dollar Tree. I'm going with this one here just because it has more of the black coloring within the center of the sunflower itself. These little pieces come off of this sunflower pick, I guess. It's a yard stake is what it is, and these just, you know, you just manipulate the metal on that and it comes apart so easy. I was kind of surprised, but we're going to keep all three pieces. Now, I used my Cricut, but I do have a PDF in the description box below linked to this, so that all you have to do if you want to use my font and my wording is print it out and then use the transfer method. Those stickers or decals from the Dollar Tree, they actually take Sharpie and paint very well, I have found. So you can do the transfer method if you want, or if you have a Cricut, you can email me and I will send you a link to my SVG that I have uploaded in my design space. But I use the wording, "Oh, hello, fall." And yes, I did forget the comma. You know, punctuation matters, guys. I forgot it. You can definitely add it with a Sharpie, or, you know, cut yourself off a little comma if you want to. But I just cut these apart because I want them to go down in 3 different spaces. And I'm using my favorite Duck brand transfer tape to put this down. And I'm doing that because that is a plastic piece that we're putting these letters or the wording onto. And I didn't want a lot of grip to pull that up and kind of disfigure the way that that sticker looks. So I'm figuring out my spacing, and I do want the O to sort of be up in the corner, sort of at an angle, and that's where I'm going to start laying down these pieces. I'm using Orcal 651 vinyl in a matte black finish that really matches the frame itself. So I think it really makes it for a cohesive DIY. The way that I'm laying these down, I want to point out that these stickers are 3-dimensional. So they actually do have some ridges in them. And so when I lay my stickers down, I want to do it in such a way that I can push the letters that go into the splits on those, or the ridges, that they go down inside of there and they don't sort of just hang over. I wanted to make sure that I really pressed everything down into the ridge part of that. But, you know, from this perspective, these to me look like they are actually ceramic tile. They are so pretty, and I just really like how they turned out with the really dark grout. I think it really made a difference with this DIY. If you wanted to go with different wording and different colors of wording, like I said, the sky's the limit. You could go the grout any color. I could see these in a modern farmhouse, you know, nursery for maybe a little baby boy or a little baby girl with the light pink or the light blue grout. I mean, my mind is just going. But anyway, let's get back to this DIY. So I finally do get all 3 words down. I did decide to split one of the grout lines with the H and then the word fall. So that's how that turned out. And now I'm going to just take some hot glue and really apply a generous amount to the back of this sunflower. And I'm going to put it down so that, you know, most of the darkness of that is sort of going up into the sign itself. I really like how these coordinate so well with this frame. And then finally, we're going to bring in back the green little leaves, and I'm just going to sort of tuck those up underneath the sunflower with some hot glue. And guys, this is how this one turned out. I am in love with it. Okay, and you guessed it, we're going to use another one of these frames and finish out our 3 fall Dollar Tree Farmhouse wall decor. I'm going to use one of the frames and then one of the pictures out of this Shine Bright and All You Do calendars that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. And I love the beautiful graphic that is for November out of this particular calendar. It says Fall in Love, and it has these beautiful, just so gorgeous sunflowers. And so what I did was I took the actual staples out of the entire calendar. It just made it easier for me to separate everything and to find that line to get a nice crisp cut. Now you could use that 2-finger method or 2-hand method and pull it apart. I really do find that using the scissors, especially in this application, to be the best route to go. And so that's what I did. Now that in itself is so pretty, but I am going to use that same method of the burlap on the back because the frame for these is just a little bit too big. You need some sort of matting around it for sure. And again, I'm going to come in with my hot glue in the corners of this frame just for a little more stability. And then we're going to place the glass back inside of the frame. So we have the burlap back that is, you know, just extra burlap that I had around from another DIY. I'll have that linked in the description box below. But you could use any sort of ribbon or anything that you wanted to sort of give this a matting, either in back of or in like I've done. I've just sort of laid this down on the backing, but you could do some matting around the actual picture itself. But it is just so pretty, and I did not want to cover up any of that sunflowers at all. I'm just taking my hot glue in the corners, and instead of putting a dollop down, I'm sort of putting the glue onto the paper and then smearing it around so that it lays as flat as possible. And then it really is as simple as turning this over and putting it back inside of this frame. Now, how I hang my things in my home that I own, I use command strips. That's why there's no hanger on this. You could definitely add one to this one or the others as well. I'm going to deconstruct this sunflower here. It comes on an alligator clip from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take it all apart, and then I'm going to also bring in one of the yellow sunflowers that you saw out of the bunch, and we're going to combine them to make a more substantial sunflower for the corner. So this plastic piece just comes out really easy. I want to glue everything in, and I want to be double sure that I match up the holes when I'm putting these pieces of fabric back inside to make the petals for these sunflowers. If you happen to glue yours down and it doesn't match up perfectly, use your scissors or something like that to widen that hole, because we want this part of the sunflower off of that pick to fit down in through that hole completely. And you're just going to add hot glue to push that down in there, and then now you have a combined sunflower. And what I love about this is it actually pulls in the colors of the sunflowers on that graphic that we have from the calendar, so it's perfect. Now I took 5 pieces of Dollar Tree burlap ribbon and I dovetailed everything, And what I'm doing, they're about 10 inches in size. And what I'm doing is laying them down on top of each other and using just a piece of twine to tie everything together very loosely at first. You don't want to go down too tight at this point. This is wired ribbon. It will remember that you pulled too tight, so just sort of go loosely at first. Sort of fan things out just a little bit, and then come back and really tie that down nice and tight. So you'll see here that I'm just sort of manipulating everything around, and now I'm giving it a nice knot, and I've knotted it 3 times, and we're going to cut off the tails of that extra little bit of twine. So at this point now you can bring everything back, and what you want to do is find the center where that twine is in the middle, and you're going to use some hot glue, and you're going to take our newly constructed beautiful sunflower, trim off the backing, that little piece of plastic that stuck out there, add a good generous amount of hot glue, and then glue that to that bundle of burlap ribbon that is cut down into dovetails. This is really, really cute. This is what I call a messy quote bow. There are no loops in this bow at all. This leans, for me, modern country farmhouse, which is sort of where my house is going these days. So there's no frou-frou, but there's a really cool, beautiful black graphic. And then this little bit of floral and some of this ribbon kind of pulls back into the country for me. So I really like it. So I just put a dollop of hot glue on the back, and I'm going to, as it's still setting up, to sort of manipulate the ribbon. And you know, you can see here that I could use a little more coverage in this corner, so I'm just going to pull those together. The wired ribbon really makes that great, and this is how it turned out. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in today for my 3 fall Dollar Tree Farmhouse wall decor, easy and fun fall DIYs leaning country and also modern farmhouse. While you're here, go ahead and subscribe if you're new. If you are returning, thank you so much again for your support and checking out another one of my videos. Your support means everything to me. I just cannot thank you enough. Hey everybody, while you're here, go ahead and watch another video, and until next time, bye.